Hey everybody, welcome to the next project. We have kind of a strange kickoff double header going on. We have a really nice looking Les Paul, great looking guitar. It's got one issue. I think we've seen this before. But wait, there's more. I have yet another really nice looking guitar. This is a big 335 style guitar that we're going to be modifying, but it has a similar problem. What is going on? Whew, we got a lot of work ahead of us as we start the next project. Codename Juvenile Delinquent. We have got it in for a quick interrogation, and we're taking notes as we go through this. We're checking the neck angle up onto the body. Got a straight edge laying on the frets, checking the gap between the bridge that's bottomed out and the bottom of that straight edge, taking notes on everything. I really want to be able to make a neck that fits this guitar properly. So I measured the width at the nut, the first, the 12th, and also at the heel of the fingerboard. Just taking as many notes as I can, because once I take it apart, I really won't be able to go back and figure out what was going on. Pulling the wires, pulling the pickups, everything needs to come off of it basically, because we are going to start surgery here pretty soon. And well, first remove the frets and the binding, and then the fingerboard, and then we'll be down to the neck. It's going to be exciting. Here's a neat little trick that I know a lot of you have probably seen before. If you have this type of pressed in insert in the body, these are open bottom insert, they're not captive. And you need to get those out of there. So you can drop something into the hole and then thread the screw in, and it'll basically jack the insert right out of the body. All right, we're working on the Les Paul, and we're going to try to remove the fingerboard in one piece without destroying it. Not that it's going back on this guitar, but I'd kind of like to keep it in one piece for reference purposes, spacing and everything, and also for maybe reuse in the future on something else. Then I'm hoping to remove the neck, what's left of the neck, in one piece. But that may go sideways and we'll have to cut it off and route it out. We've done that before, right? So we've removed the binding, saved the finish on the body as much as possible. We may be using this as a base to do some slightly different finish work in the future. Don't know yet. But next we're going to try and steam off the fingerboard in one piece and then try to remove the neck with the tenon in one piece. Let's get after it as we continue the next project. Well, the cameraman managed to knock the power cord out of the camera while we were doing the first part of the recording of this, so we lost the first few minutes of removing the fingerboard. So I'm now looking for a new camera person. Oh boy, hard to get good help these days. Just using a heat gun to remove the fingerboard. This is new to me. In the past, I've always used like household iron and some steam, so you have heat and steam. And honestly, this is the first time doing just heat alone, and I'm really impressed. It's going a lot faster than when I did a similar Les Paul like a year ago, and I used the steam and heat. That took a long time, and I think that kind of was hard on the fingerboard. The moisture getting in the fingerboard wasn't the best thing for it. I would think that heat wouldn't be great either, but it seems to look a lot better. Anyway, harvesting the truss rod, and that is a nice truss rod, but we won't be using it again. Doing some quick prep work, getting ready to harvest the neck, and need to score all the way around the body to save as much paint as possible. Well, we are having a good day. We used the heat gun to get the fingerboard off. That went way better than what I had used, like an iron and things before. Then I decided to try to remove the neck in one piece, and I have these little bitty craft foam cutter tools. I drilled holes all along the sides, just on the inside, the neck side of the tenon, about every half an inch or so, 3/8 of an inch, half an inch, probably half an inch. Then we ran 2 of those foam cutter heating probes along it, and as I was standing there waiting for those to heat up, I was like, man, I wonder, the wood is going to be cooling off about as quick as it's heating up. And I was like, well, why don't I try the heat gun, even after I dropped it, and it still works, heat up the wood also. The finish is not damaged, which I'm very happy about. Still pretty, very shiny. Once it got pretty hot, I was wiggling the neck. I was like, oh, good, it's starting to move. And then it broke loose, and I was like, oh, I cracked the neck in half. So I pulled this part of the neck out, and I was like, that's not a crack, that's a seam. So I was like, oh, this was a multi-piece heel, basically, almost like a bolt-on that they glued a chunk on and glued it into the body. I think some of us have done that before. Got all the broken pieces out in one salvageable piece. So now, anyway, I can glue this together, and I will have basically a perfect template to go by to make the new neck for this guitar. Yay! The body's in good shape. We'll be able to clean this up, have parts to make a new neck template out of. The Juvenile Delinquent LP is coming along nicely. So, yay for this one. Now we're moving on to the 335 as we continue and start the next project. All right, we've got the first part of our initial 2 project kickoff done. The Epiphone LP, nicknamed Juvenile Delinquent, has got the neck removed from the body. That all went pretty well. We tried a lot of new things, and for the most part, everything worked. A few surprises along the way, but that's good. We learn as we go, right? Well, now we're moving on to part 2. Another Epiphone. This is a 335 that was purchased as a husk with a broken off headstock. The owner wanted a 335 body, but with a neck profile that he prefers, which is a thicker, slightly asymmetrical neck profile. It's going to be about 1 inch thick from the nut all the way back. A little beefier on one side than the other, so it's not a perfect, C shape. It'll be offset. We'll see that later. But we're going to do the same process. We're going to document this guitar, check the frets, salvage the fingerboard, and then try to remove the neck in one piece. So I have a template that actually fits this body to go from. And a lot of things I need to do before I get there. I need to put a bridge on it and check to see what the heights from the frets to the top of the bridge were, all that stuff. We have a lot of work to do before we harvest parts. So let's get after the second part of this double header project kickoff video as we start the second half of the next project. Yeah, well, work with me. Here we go. Really, the only reason I was pulling the frets out of both of these guitars is just to make it easier for me to get heat on the fingerboard and to remove a clean fingerboard. Not that I'm reusing these fingerboards on these guitars, but I wanted to save as many parts as I could, salvageable things. Not the frets, not the binding, but the fingerboard itself. So a few extra steps that you may say aren't necessary, and yeah, true, but I wanted to take it apart in pieces to save the big things, if that makes sense. Getting the 335 prepped for surgery here. We're clamping it to the bench. I have some big, thick, spongy foam things and the chunk of cardboard with some aluminum foil on it to help deflect or reflect some of the heat. Starting out with just a standard chisel to get underneath the fingerboard where the glue has been loosened up due to the heat. And again, straight heat, no steam. It's working really well. I'm really impressed by this process. I hadn't tried it before, thinking it was a bad thing, but it's going pretty good.
All right, we've moved on to the 335 style Epiphone. We have the fingerboard pulled off of it, used just the heat gun again. It worked really great. Honestly, back-to-back tests on Epiphone products, the heat gun actually was working better than when I used the household iron with steam. That seemed to take a lot longer. What else? The heat gun, you get it pretty hot. You get it to where you can't really touch the fingerboard. It's very uncomfortable, hot. All right, now we're ready to pull the neck out of this one, try to harvest it. And based on what we learned on the LP, the Epiphone LP just a little bit ago, I'm expecting this to be a 2-piece heel. Problem is, I don't know how deep the route is underneath the neck, because this is a stepped-in, a narrow tenon, or narrower than on the LP. So we're going to be learning more. I can't see where the neck to body seam is. They have a really good finish on this, smooth. No lines of where things are butting together yet. That's gonna show up. So let's jump into it and take this one apart as we continue the next project.
Doing more prep work, getting ready to harvest the neck out of the 335. I was able to find the seam where the neck meets the body. They had it hidden really well, but I did find it, shined a light on it at different angles to find a very, very faint line. Able to score all the way around the neck to body joint, and now I'm drilling to just the inside of the tenon, drilling a bunch of little holes so we can use our foam cutters to get down and soften the glue that is holding the neck in place. There they are. These I think were $9.99 when I bought them, and now I think they're $10.99 each. And I think if I have another one of these projects to do anytime soon, I will pick up 2 more of these little heaters and run 4 at a time. They run off of a little cell phone charger, a little wall wart transformer, so pretty easy to use. And there is the Harbor Freight Central Pneumatic heat gun, which I may or may not have needed it, but I had it on hand. I wanted to get the neck hot, and I was also able to, keep an eye on the paint, make sure I wasn't blistering or loosening the paint anywhere, and it all went really well. Really, really pleased with this process overall. I did take more time to remove the neck on the LP than what we're going to see here. Not that I'm getting better at this, but maybe a little bit different neck joint, maybe a little different amount of glue stuck in there. They both went really well, but this one actually came out of there better than I expected. And there was a surprise. It's all one piece down there in the heel. That's nice. I was thinking I needed to drill a couple more little holes along the routed out part of the tendon in the pickup cavity, but as I stuck the probes in there and was wiggling the neck around, it just popped loose, and I was like, well, I guess I didn't need to drill those extra holes that are down in the pickup cavity, so, live and learn. It didn't hurt anything drilling those in, but ended up not needing them. Probably could have saved a couple minutes of time of screwing around, looking for the drill bit again, and drilling those extra holes that, like I said, really weren't needed. Maybe the takeaway, the learning event from this is if the neck is not going to be reused, I could drill a little bit further inside onto the tenon, save the body a little bit more. But it really doesn't matter. It's getting glued up and put back together, so any drill marks and any little scorch marks will be hidden, will be buried.
Well, we have got 2 different guitars taken apart, template necks separated from the bodies, so I can start making the future final necks for these guitars based on the original necks from the factory. Some interesting takeaways. Even though they're very similar, there are some differences. They appear to be using the same species of lumber
for both of these necks, and these are the LP was probably one of their high-end LPs. The Epiphone 335, which is an Epiphone inspired by Gibson product line, which is a really nice guitar. It also uses the same lumber in the neck as the other LPs. Is it a design issue? Partially, yes. Is it a material issue? In this case, yes. Is it a manufacturing issue? In this case, yes. The truss rod choice and routing is a concern for me. So, beautiful guitars, both of these, with fatal flaws that I am here to fix. I hope you've gotten something out of this video. I have. Using heat to pull off the fingerboard is far better for me, at least on these Epiphones, than is using heat and steam. That seems to be a waste of time and effort. Also, using the heating probes, foam cutting heating probes back here worked great, especially on this 335 model, to get the neck out of the body. The LP went really good. This is kind of our guinea pig test, using the heat, pulled the fingerboard off really well. I was a little surprised to find out that this is a two-piece neck back here at the heel. Thank you for sticking with me. Appreciate your time greatly. Subscribe if you haven't done so, please. I'd greatly appreciate that. Hit the thumbs up button to let YouTube know you like this kind of stuff. Even if you didn't like this video, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. Ring the bell. I think that will subscribe you too, maybe. If not, the least it'll do is let you know about future videos that come out, which would be great. Leave comments. I love hearing from everybody all around the world. Love hearing where people live. Actually, that's pretty exciting. And then what you got going on. You know, is your kid playing in a band? Are you playing in a band? Is your wife playing in a band? Is the dog playing in a band? No, that would be imperative. That would be something. I'm speechless over that. Take care of yourself and those around you until next time. Bye.